Keep yourself in the loop of everything football on the Golden State Media Concepts Football Podcast. The latest news on and off the field, be it college football, Big Ten, SEC, Big 12, Pac-12, ACC to the NFL. We've got you covered. Listen to the Golden State Media Concepts Football Podcast.
Yo, how's everybody doing out there? Thank you for tuning in to the GSMC Football Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. I am your host, DJ Youngs. As usual, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. It's a podcast that you can listen to at any time, any place, anywhere. So I love just hitting all those salutations, man. Greetings to everybody. A quick rundown of the show. New news, as always. Talk about some college sports. I'm going to finish up that top 20 quarterback ranking. And then, you know what? I decided I want to get a little personal today. When it comes to talking sports, I doubt anybody that enjoys sports at all to the point that they are talking about it on a podcast, on TV, writing about it in journalism, wherever. They all have a story. You know, it's either some relationship that they had with the sport as a kid, growing up with it, with family relationships, or just something that helped them get away, get out of their own heads, help them be successful in different ways. There's a lot of different stories out there. I thought I'd share mine, tell you kind of how I got to this point thus far. But like I said, we're going to start off with the first segment and get this started off. I know a lot of things been moving fast, football world, NFL, off season. So, of course, we're just going to always start there. You know, I like to keep you guys updated on everything from information, who got signed, who didn't get signed, all the way to rumors. So, we're just going to kick it off right there, man. I'm going to start off. I like to go from my last show, which my last show you heard was on Monday, till now. You're hearing this one on Thursday. That, you know, what's happened in between that time. Just a few days, but some pretty big moves happened. Starting off, former Titans cornerback Adoree Jackson made a 3-year, $39 million deal with the New York Giants. All right, so his signing bonus, just to break down his deal, his signing bonus is $13.5 million. Total guaranteed is $26.5 million, and in that first year, he's making $16 million. The deal is worth up to $44.5 million with incentives. So as you can kind of see, the Giants are making small moves, but big moves at that, paying a little money that they got, getting the pieces that they need. I love to see that these young men are still getting the opportunities that they deserve. All right? So, you know, speaking that the Giants are making these moves, some of the notable names that they've accomplished getting on their squad this offseason include D lineman Leonard Williams. He got a 3-year, $63 million deal, as well as receiver Kenny Golladay with his 4-year, $72 million deal. And then I just told you about the new cornerback addition of Adoree Jackson. Those are some pretty good names added to that list. All right. So that's what I got for the Giants. Next up, Sammy Watkins, the free agent out of Kansas City, who, like I said, I thought was going to get, you know, some either franchise tag or 1-year deal with Kansas City. He's actually been shopping around pretty well. Just this week, he visited Indianapolis and Baltimore. Apparently, the Baltimore trip went well, and they said that, you know, word came out that they were prepared to sign him, but that was the same day that he was at the Colts, and I haven't really heard much about how that went. But just being who he is and his track record, he's also drawn some more interest in other teams like the Titans and the Texans. So, who knows? I think that'll be an impressive sign wherever he goes, knowing that there's so many offers on the table as if he's a quarterback, right? But no, Sammy Watkins is an amazing talent, so I completely understand. All right. Mike Davis is going to the Falcons on a 2-year deal. Haven't heard much about the numbers on that one. Nor have I heard much about the numbers with the Eagles signing Joe Flacco. Yeah, that's different. So they get rid of Carson Wentz because you would think that they feel safe with their new starting quarterback in Jalen Hurts. But clearly they go get an old vet who we just seen him on the Jets, and he's won a Super Bowl, an important Super Bowl. Don't get me wrong, with a pretty good resume at that moment. But again, what have you done for me lately? I haven't seen much from Joe Flacco. You've seen that he could still throw the ball. I give him that for sure. It wasn't that he just completely fell off a cliff. He just hasn't been in the right place at the right time, if you ask me, and it hasn't helped that he's only gotten older. That championship was back in 2012. It's almost a decade later. So is this acquisition of Flacco because they don't have the faith that we may have assumed that they had in Hurts, or did they just want to get a solid backup? My opinion, I think Jalen Hurts is going to be fine. I think they still trust him to be the starter, but I think they wanted a solid backup, kind of how, I guess, because you could look at it two ways for what the Cowboys did last year, but kind of with them getting Andy Dalton as Dak's backup. Although that one's a little more blurry because of all the contract controversy. But you get my point. All right. The Steelers released cornerback Steven Nelson. I think they were trying to put him in some type of trade deal, but that just never came about. So I guess they just kind of got rid of him. Former 49ers DN Kerry Hyder is signing a 3-year, $16.5 million deal with the upside of $17.5 million with the Seahawks. So, yeah, he getting paid. That's how that's looking. Bucks and their O-lineman Donovan Smith reached an agreement on a 2-year, $31.8 million contract extension through 2023. That now includes $30 million guaranteed over the next 2 seasons. So with this deal, Donovan he'll collect 4 consecutive years from 2019 to 2022 of guaranteed money, totaling in $57 million. Okay, making a lot of money. It's getting all the money he deserves and worked for. So congrats to him. But also the Bucks are coming out of pocket. They are making things happen over there. Along with that signing in the last couple of days, they also agreed to the 1-year, $10 million deal with the defensive tackle Ndamukong Suh, who was an all-star, all-American, Pro Bowler, and someone that was just on the championship team that a lot of people thought the Bucks were not going to be able to keep. So, just to paint this picture for you guys, the Bucks now have extended the deals on Tom Brady, the quarterback, left tackle Donovan Smith. They franchise tagged receiver Chris Godwin. And they got new deals that they have on paper inked up with outside linebacker Shaq Barrett, linebacker Levante David, tight end Rob Gronkowski, and the kicker Ryan Scoop. The one I just said about Ndamukong Suh, plus a few other off. So they been busy this offseason doing everything they want to do. I guess that's the power of Brady. Brady sits here, he makes the deal with the team. I'm guessing he probably even talks to his teammates before he goes to the organization to have a discussion, just to let them know, like, hey, if I do this, are you guys also willing to make the sacrifice? Now, I did hear that a person not willing to make a pocket sacrifice but wanted to stay on the team was the Ndamukong Suh, which clearly he got his 1-year, $10 million, so he didn't have to cut it short. But as we know, Ndamukong Suh has been elite on, I think he's played on 4 teams, came in with the Lions, also played the Dolphins, the Rams, so now he's on Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but he hasn't really lost a beat. We saw, I believe he had, somewhere around 4 to 5 sacks this season, definitely adding pressure, getting better throughout the season, which that entire defense was. They were just going at it every week, and then the closer they got to the opportunity, the more they were focused, which I can't argue with that. I think that's what you would want out of your team, right? All right, the Vikings re-signed running back Amir Abdullah. I haven't heard numbers on that, but I guess that's a great keep for them for sure. That's going to be needed. Former Falcon safety Ricardo Allen has signed a 1-year deal with the Bengals. They acquired him. That was something that made happen, picking up because the Bengals, like I said, definitely need, I said last week, as they were making quite a few signings on defense, that they're going to need all the coverage they can get. Got to keep those those battles that they were in this season to a limit. Help out the kid, Joe Burrow working his butt off trying to do something with the team, but the games will be so close, so it will help a lot if he's answering, but they're keeping the other team out the end zone. So hopefully that'll happen. All right. Patriots re-signed running back James White on a 1-year, $2.5 million deal. I think, and that 2.5 is fully guaranteed, which he deserves. Again, I'm saying people deserve because you see what they put into the organization. I don't even have the stats pulled up on James White right now, but I just know, like, everyone that watches football just know how important he is to this organization these last few years. Especially with Brady being there. That was his guy. James White might as well have been a running back and a receiver. I'm pretty sure most people refer to him that way. He'll be a great asset there for whoever their starting quarterback is going to be. Hopefully Cam. If not, whoever it is. There's still rumors that they may, skip to their little way up the ladder to get a higher pick to get somebody. But I don't really know who that somebody could be. But having James White come out that backfield to be a check down or to even be a deep seam type run, that's going to go a long way. All right. The Cowboys have released pass rusher Alden Smith. He had 5 sacks playing, in his first NFL game since 2015 this past season. I guess, it was one of those bittersweet stories. We saw that he had troubles beforehand and had his suspensions, was able to come back, play for the Cowboys, contribute to him. I just hope this isn't the last we hear about it. Like, he just gets off and nobody else wants to deal with him. He was able to provide for that team. They had their own personal issues and difficulties as a whole, so it probably, dimmed his light a little bit, but still saying that he was able to accomplish 5 sacks, that's you can't ignore that, okay? Something that was brought up this week, Jameis Winston was having an interview. He decided to mention all that he learned from Drew Brees. Made it a debate during the week of if this was good for him. Did he really learn anything? I think most people kind of agreed that the biggest issue with Jameis Winston was not that he was a bad quarterback. It was that he was not a safe quarterback. So, he had a lot of problems with giving up the ball, and clearly everyone knows that if you're giving up the ball, it's less likely that you're going to win the game, right? So getting behind a quarterback like Drew Brees, who is literally in the top of being safe, like that's why he's so accurate and such a great quarterback and has literally all the accolades and records in the book, is because he knows how to take care of the ball and where to put it if need be. So I hope Jameis is right. I hope that's true. I hope that's a true story. I hope he was able to learn as much as he spoke about this week from him and able to do something with it. I think he has a very good chance of being the starting quarterback for the New Orleans Saints as long as he produces. I'd even say he's matured a lot. We've seen since before he came in the league, in college, when he was at Florida State, the kind of stuff he was into on and off the field. As well as soon as he got right into it and had his issues in Tampa Bay. But the Saints was able to give it a chance. And I'm pretty sure they signed him last year behind Brees for a reason. They saw something. They liked him. They kept him this entire time. There was nothing we heard negative throughout the season. The little bit of time that Brees had to go out, he got to play a little bit. Tyson Hill got most of it. But it's because I did hear that coaching staffs did kind of promise him that he would get that opportunity. So, and now it's Jameis' time. Now he's up. I doubt they go out and go get anyone for him to compete against. This is a guy that's been in their organization for over a year now, studied their books, met all their expectations, and been in their meetings, because you best believe if there was anything opposite of him meeting their expectations, you're not going to pay that guy again, even if it is the amount they're paying him. Still couldn't be the case. All right. ESPN and the ABC Network announced the commentator team for the 2021 NFL Draft. Those commentators will be Louis Riddick, Booger McFarland, Mel Kiper, and Mike Greenberg. All people that most football, especially people that keep ESPN on, should be familiar with. These people that talk about stuff all the time. And then you got Mel Kiper, who is the draft guru, apparently. Not the 4C, you can't see everything, but it is what it is. Along with the college game day team that we're all familiar with, handling interviews and stuff. So talking to the guys before when they're coming in, and I'm pretty sure maybe even talking to them after they get off stage, after they've been drafted. Again, mentioned last episode, mention it again until it comes. But the NFL Draft 2021 will be live from Cleveland, Ohio, April 29th through May 1st. Very exciting opportunity to watch all these young men reach their dreams, really. See what teams are going to do to help improve their roster. Everyone always needs improvement. You need improvement every year, no matter if it's small or big. But it'd be interesting to see. And like I said, happy to see the young men themselves reach this goal. The Colts are giving T.Y. Hilton a 1-year, $10 million deal, including $8 million guaranteed. All right, T.Y. expected to return to the Colts on a 1-year deal from the get-go, apparently, and that's kind of aligned with what I said last week when I named all the notable athletes that were left, majority of them being up in age, and I kind of said that was typical. That one, the people that are left at this point without a deal are the ones that's up in age. You kind of go for the young ones first. I even mentioned the team at the end of the show with the fun facts. A team that had no one above 30, I believe. Everybody was in their 20s. So that kind of shows you how they take that. But I also mentioned the second thing, that a lot of times in those situations, and especially if it's someone who's a standout player for that organization for years, i.e. T.Y. Hilton for the Colts, that they are more than likely going to end up back there, but not on big deals. It's typically a 1-year deal, like we see right here with T.Y. Hilton getting his 1 year, $10 million. So, not surprised there, as I've said for a number of things that we should all see coming. All right. So, San Francisco 49ers reach a deal to keep nickel cornerback K'Waun Williams. In his 4th season with the 49ers, Williams has appeared in 51 games, posted 172 tackles with 3 interceptions and 4 sacks. And when you get a cornerback nickel, and if you're not familiar with the nickel, it's almost like a hybrid between a safety and a linebacker. Okay, so these are guys that are fast, who can move from sideline to sideline and get in the backfield. So that's why he has sacks on his resume. They can handle the coverage. That's why he has interceptions on his resume. And 172 tackles, you can't argue with that. You want them to be able to bring them down and be effective. So, good job to that young man. I'm glad to see that. Not that young, but you get it. Jet signed former 49ers running back Tevin Coleman, who's outstanding the past couple of years. So, he's on a 1-year deal worth up to $2 million. I think that's fair. I don't know if he's going to be the same in New York. I'm hoping so. I mean, he's literally going to clear across the country. It's a different climate, but he's an athlete, so he should be able to adjust. It's just that it's the Jets. And I'm not trying to jet shame. It's just one of those situations where you're kind of like, I want you to show me something. As a football fan, a non-biased, non-team having football fan, as I mentioned on here a number of times, I just want to see some good ball. And the Jets is a team that, whatever my schedule may hold, I'm not going to break my neck to go see, because they haven't done much in the past couple years. But if you turn that around, you won't have to hear any of this. Okay? All right. All right. Marcus Mariota, who, if anybody doesn't know where he is the backup to Derek Carr on the Las Vegas Raiders. He restructured his contract this week. So Mariota originally signed a 2-year, $17.6 million free agent contract with the Raiders last March. All right. So fast forward a year later, and he was scheduled to make $10.625 million in base salary just in this upcoming season. But he was carrying $15.35 million of the salary cap, so they wanted to sit down, restructure. I guess he agreed to it. So that restructure deal kind of came out and includes a 1-year contract, one on those 2 years that he have left, worth $3.5 million. That could top out at $8 million in incentives if they're met. So it kind of sounds like he really cut off by $7 million of what he was going to get. And they may have turned it into incentives, but being the backup quarterback, how exactly, are you able to reach? So I guess it's more of saying like, hey, we'd rather pay you this much, but say something was happening and you were able to produce because you had to play, then we'll give you back that money is what I'm kind of seeing it work out as. But hey, I'm not a lawyer. That's just what I see, I think. Okay, Green Bay Packers and tight end Mercedes Lewis reach an agreement on a 1-year, $8 million deal that includes $4 million in guaranteed money. Lewis will be returning on his 16th season. Another guy that's been a little aged but able to succeed on getting some money in more than 1 year. All right, note to that. Now, I didn't see anything about having any avoidable years because apparently that's been popular, but that's what he's getting. Update: Houston quarterback Deshaun Watson now has 16 lawsuits filed against him. Currently, the numbers keep rising. As I said last episode, how much information do we really know? We're not too clear on everything. These are all civil. A lot of people hear like, oh, lawsuits, and hear kind of what they have to deal with, and immediately think there's a crime and this individual has threatened to go to jail. But that's not the case. So having multiple women come out and have these allegations against him, his lawyer says that they will be able to clear his name. Everything's good. So we kind of just got to wait and see. Unfortunate part is we know it's going to take a while, like maybe even after the season start before he's able to clear his name, or all this gets to even go through court. But we'll just continue to keep you guys updated on that for sure. I'll try to keep my well-versed. My producing staff will help me out with that as well. We'll make sure we give you all that accurate information so that we can see where that ends. Rumor has it that Seattle Seahawks quarterback Russell Wilson is asking for the organization to bring in Antonio Brown. Now, I have nothing against Antonio Brown. I said last week that it looks like the only place he could ever be is in Tampa Bay because he can only work with Tom Brady. It's cool that Russ would like him. I think he would be cool with Russ. With that staff, I doubt. I mean, from what we're hearing, Russ, you're not even all the way 100% getting along with them. And then with the icing on cake, I kind of really don't feel like the Seahawks need Antonio Brown. You have a pretty solid receiver base, making some big plays. Antonio Brown, I mean, I guess what's wrong with having another, but I don't know why that even need to make its way out to the light is what I'm saying. All right. Also, one last rumor I kind of got, I guess it wouldn't be a rumor that could been putting out statistics and numbers on it, but apparently Odell Beckham Jr. makes more money than any football player on Instagram. So, regardless of him being injured or whatever, he literally apparently is the number one Instagram influencer in the NFL, which, I mean, I guess it makes sense, but he's also like up there by a lot. And number two, I guess, wouldn't even been my guess. If I had to guess, I wouldn't have been able to guess number two, but he's literally above Tom Brady, Russell Wilson, Cam Newton, Patrick Mahomes, Gronkowski, J.J. Watt, Antonio Brown, Juju Smith-Schuster, Ezekiel Elliott. My guess, like I said, what we just saw in this season, Juju Smith-Schuster getting in trouble and stuff like that because of his post and all that. So, of course, I know that should have brought his name up, or at least from where it was. But who knew Tom Brady was number two? So, apparently, OBJ is making somewhere close to $58,700 per Instagram ad, which is nice, really, really nice. I don't believe it's up there with the Kylie Jenners or anything. I believe she makes like $1 million or something. The Kardashians make a lot of money off of them. But, for an athlete, that's nice. For a person, that's nice. That's somebody's salary. You know what I'm saying? But then number two, Tom Brady is making $38.8 thousand. And it's kind of like, whoa, that's kind of big, just $20,000 jump. Didn't know that, he's up there. First of all, I know Tom Brady. If I was to guess, Tom Brady would have been like close to number 5 because he's above Russell Wilson, who jumps down a lot more at 20,000, 20.5 thousand really. And then it kind of gradually is all the same from there, from everybody from Russ to Cam, Patrick, Rob, JJ, AB, Juju, and Zeke. So, I mean, it's money everywhere. I'm pretty sure they have some type of, different kind of restrictions, though, being that they're NFL players and being that they have their own ads that they have here and there that they tend to in contracts. So, but I guess that's a cool thing to know. But that's all I got as far as the updates so far. Of course, more is to come. It's only halfway through the week. We got a couple more days, and then you'll hear more. I'll definitely be giving that to you. Next up, I'm going to talk more about some of the news that's in college sports. I'll talk college sports, what's going on over there, some stuff that I came across on the internet, and more. And then we'll hear about some more. But I'm going to take a real quick break, and we'll be right back.
Are you looking for help for your fantasy football team? Check out the GSMC Fantasy Football Podcast. Get today's best advice on who to start, who to sit, even who you should draft. From sleeper picks to red-hot lineups, they got it all covered for you. That's gsmcpodcast.com/fantasy-football-podcast. We'll cover traditional leagues, dynasty, PPR, even IDP leagues. When you need fantasy help, there's just one show to hit up. Don't forget to like them on Facebook and follow them on Twitter. Visit gsmcpodcast.com for more info.
And we back yet again for some more football. Alright, I'm your host, DJ Youngs. Thanks for tuning in to the GSMC Football Podcast today. So we just knocked out what's going on, what's new in the news, going on in NFL. This is almost an extension of it. I want to give the NCAA a little highlight. Let's talk about some of the football, what's going on over there. It's also their off season, their recruiting year. But really, I'm gonna just say what's top of the news right now. What happened this past week, and I also want to kind of talk a little bit about some of these rankings I saw. Because just like I'm kind of just giving a lot of my opinions during the off season outside of the news, that's what everybody else is doing. So ESPN released a top 60 ranking for quarterbacks of the 2000s and top 80 best football defenders of the 2000s. So I just want to just see what that looks like. I mean, if you didn't see it, I just want to give some of those highlights to you on who some of those players are, and maybe even give you some background, because I know there's a lot of people on there that I haven't followed their story, and it's nice to see where some of those OGs came from. But kicking it off, we're going to start where most football in the NCAA is started, and that is the SEC, aka Alabama, Bama Nation. So reports came out that receiver Devontae Smith says he's 170 pounds and it doesn't bother him. This is all talks about before they had their pro day this week. He said he won't be doing any drills. He doesn't have pretty much anything to showcase, in other words. Apparently it's all been on the field, and I only say apparently because I'm just trying to speak from what I think he is getting at. But regardless, I know what I saw. I know what anybody else that was watching saw. His 2020 season showed more than enough. That's what the report. Like, I mean, look, think about it. You ask me, based off of everything that's going on right now, they're not having the combine because of health purposes and everything that's going on in the world right now. If I'm someone that literally everybody saw me win the Heisman, win the championship, do amazing in that game, and I'm on everybody's top receiver to be drafted, there's nothing I need to show you. I saw one analyst pretty much say, like, the only reason someone in his case needs to do that is if they plan on breaking some type of record or something, which I agree with. Unless he thought he was going to run the best 40 or have the highest vertical or shuttle drive or anything like that, bench press, why? I mean, even if that's the case, would him breaking any of those records move him up more? I doubt it, just because we already know what you're capable of. It's like Trevor Lawrence going out trying to break a record. Like, he doesn't need to. he's proved his point. He proved where he is. The combine gives a lot of other people recognition. That's where people get to pop out. It's kind of like, in some cases, the NCAA, like March Madness, because, basketball March Madness is well known for people shining at a moment that you never heard of. So that makes it a little more interesting. Whereas on the back end, it could be, somebody completely different. But while we're talking about their pro day, by the way, Alabama's running back Najee Harris had a flight from Dallas to Birmingham that got canceled due to lightning right before their pro day the day before. So he actually drove the 9 hours to Alabama so he could be there for the morning of. Mind you, he didn't plan on working out or doing anything at the pro day. He just wanted to be there to support his teammates, which is dope. I don't know too many people that would do that. Hey, that just shows you what kind of guy he is, which a lot of organizations pay attention to. So I don't know if he wanted them to pay attention to that or if that's just really who he is, which if you ask me, I believe him. I think that's who he is. Then look, a guy that'll drive 9 hours to come see you guys ball, that's dope. That's dope. It's going to go a long way. I think Najee is actually planning on, well, he's projected to go late first, sometime second round. I think it's more going to be second round. So he, again, somebody that didn't have anything to prove. He just wanted to be there to support, which is dope. All right, moving on. Lincoln Riley confirmed Wednesday that Oklahoma has not released quarterback Chandler Morris. All right, somebody on their roster. Chandler Morris transferred to TCU. He's saying he and OU are opposed. Lincoln Riley and OU is opposed to transfers within the conference becoming eligible immediately. So TCU coach Gary Payton told local reporters that Morris was competing with Max Duggan, who's a returning starter at TCU for the starting position, but that he still hasn't been released from Oklahoma. So that's how that kind of got out. And then, Lincoln Riley had to reply to that. So, Lincoln Riley actually said during a Zoom meeting to reporters that this particular situation for us is about something that we believe in. Myself, the leadership here at OU, we think it's unhealthy for college football to encourage intra-conference transfers. That's something that we've been adamantly opposed to for a long time. I get the landscape is changing. We're certainly watching that, and we will adapt as the world changes. But this has nothing to do with that or with the person. Chandler Morris did a tremendous job here. He's a terrific young man. So happy to hear that they feel that way. I understand you might not want to release, somebody conference, which is kind of like, teams in the NFL trading in their division or making moves in their division. You don't want to go against somebody that you think, is a weapon against you or knows a lot about your offense, defense, basically how, your calls work and everything in the background to someone you're going to have to see next year or, that you have to play in your conference to be successful. And I can understand that. At first I was kind of like, hey, let, players, because they clearly are trying to go to other schools for better opportunities. No one's attempting to do something harmful to their career. So Chandler Morris going to compete, I'm pretty sure has confidence that he can win the starting position and wants to go there. Maybe even had them as an option for him in the beginning. Probably the school he wanted to go to didn't have the opportunity or, just got misled. But he wants to go there now. So my first thought was, okay, yeah, they let the kid go, right? And then after realizing that it is within their conference, you don't want them to have to change everything they do there because one guy went somewhere and could, pretty much mess up everything they got going on. All right? So that's kind of what's happening there, but hopefully it will all get figured out on how they're going to proceed with this type of stuff in the future. All right. Now, Georgia wide receiver George Pickens will require surgery on his right knee after suffering an ACL injury. All right, they let that be known. It came out. He's supposed to have a full recovery by school time, but Georgia's head coach Kirby Smart came out. He said the good news is that the MRI showed it to be an isolated injury with no other structures involved. George is a hard worker. I know he will bring the same work ethic to rehab that he shows in practice every day. Just kind of give you an idea who Pickens is. He's a junior, at a team high 6 touchdown receptions last season while catching 36 passes for 513 yards. He started all 8 of the games they played this past season, so he was also part of the freshman All-SEC selection. All right. I wish that, George Pickens has a speedy recovery. Clearly, he is someone that is going to be a big part of not only the Georgia's organization, but hopefully move on in the future to the NFL. All right. Next up, the Big Ten has announced that schools will be allowed to set attendance policies the rest of the spring based on local health guidances instead of by conference mandates. So, kind of giving them the free will on what they want to decide for their own facilities and organizations within the Big Ten. Surprise? No, you kind of see it going that way. We all know how big the NCAA is on sports, $billion business. They're just now, making little headway on giving their athletes a little more, structure and flexibility to what they can and can't do. So, hoping for the best. I don't wish. Look, I lived in this world just like everybody else did this past year and saw everything that was going on. I see where we are now. We're transitioning to. Me personally would hope that we could wait just a little bit longer for some things, just enough time to make sure we not 100%, but closer. Closer to everybody being in a safer space so that the world is safer, so that we can get as close to normal as we can get. We're never going to be normal again. That's for a fact. Me personally, I know my loved ones, there's some things we're never going to do the same again. Flying, for one. Never going to be on a plane or in an airport without a mask ever again. I don't think I'll ever be in any kind of establishment shoulder to shoulder with a lot of people. There's a lot of things that are different for everybody. I'm freaked out to open doors at stores all the time now. Like, I try to pick the least likely spot that someone opened this door. If it's one of those doors that got a long handle from top to bottom, I try to reach as high as top of it and open the door. That's just me. I'm just, want everybody to be happy, be safe at the same time. So, Big Ten, the schools, I'm pretty sure they'll make the best decision for them, and then the individuals that are involved will make the best decision if they're going or not. So, we'll see, though. I'm pretty sure we're going to hear way more, way larger numbers than we did last season, though, for all conferences, for sure, though. All right? All right, now, Jay Graham has resigned as Alabama's special teams and tight ends coach. He said he wanted to seek some professional help and gain a better understanding of mental health. So he did just get introduced to the school less than 2 months ago, like I said, as a special teams and tight ends coach. But he did drop a tweet kind of explaining his situation, how he's feeling. He says, the events of the past year have taken a toll on millions of people around the world. Not only in lost loved ones or lost jobs, but in unprecedented anxiety and mental health. I am taking this time away from football to seek professional help immediately, gain a better understanding in mental health, and spend time with loved ones. I hope to rebalance my life so I am able to return to my passion of coaching and helping student athletes pursue their dreams. And in the Alabama statement in regards to it said that he just resigned from his position effective immediately. So that's kind of what happened. I mean, it's probably more to it. There usually is. But regardless, when somebody's talking about mental health, it's hard to argue with that. Completely understand. Yes, we all, like I just mentioned again, lived this past year kind of in similar situations of being in unprecedented time and not knowing what to do and seeing how it affected us, our families, our loved ones, our friends, and so forth and so on. So, hey, Jay, do what you gotta do. Good luck, man. Wish you all the best. Okay, Oregon State University. The president, F. King Alexander, has resigned amidst the backlash in regards to his possible role in the sexual misconduct saga that was happening at LSU involving Les Miles. OSU's Board of Trustees met and accepted his resignation on Tuesday, moved to effective on April 1st. The board voted to place Alexander on probation. That from originally, just last week, and then so he came with this. They came out with it, said, when the Board of Trustees adjourned last week, we believe it was possible for President Alexander to repair the broken confidence and trust in his ability to lead OSU. So after listening, then one of the board members said, after listening to and hearing important input from diverse members of our community and reflecting on our own values and experiences, we now know that rebuilding trust is no longer possible. So I don't really know exactly what part he had in it. Of course, the reports, just to remind you about Les Miles, was in his years at LSU before getting to Kansas. That he had some involvement with some of the young female students. Not really too detailed in everything that was possible, especially not in what Alexander's position might have been in this situation, but apparently it came out, the guys are resigning or, being removed. And I mean, I believe in listening to all victims and believing all facts, all truth, all evidence. I take that back, not even all evidence, because some evidence can be fabricated. So these type of situations are tough. I hate that, if things are misunderstood or wrong, I hate that for people. But then again, if the truth is coming out, then I believe they deserve whatever's coming toward them. So, but, I don't know if I should wish him good luck or feel sorry for him or not, but that is what happened over there. So, next up, Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets and the Pink Panthers football teams both had to delay some practices due to COVID protocol. Really, they paused all activities that they had. I know Yellow Jackets were supposed to have spring practice this week and, getting ready, of course, for the game, but they plan to do that as soon as possible. They're just moving with abundance of caution and, prefer to take the side of caution and health and safety of their players and staff over anything. So I agree. I mean, makes sense to me. Pitt, which started spring practice March 14, completed 4 days of practice before pausing. Although in-person activities are paused, the team will continue to meet virtually. So, hey, you thought you were safe. You still going to get this work, young man. Not mad at that. All right. North Carolina has extended head coach Mack Brown's contract through the 2025 season, putting the Hall of Fame coach on the pace to be on the sideline at age 74. 74 years old. Man, Mack's been coach for a long, long time. And UNC, they extended his contract of all 10 of Brown's on-field assistants as well. So they all would get that 3-year deal, which is cool that you get to keep everybody you came in with. Everybody get to eat. Good job, UNC. Brown is set to earn $3.5 million per year throughout the life of the contract. So if they extended, that's pretty much what he's averaging. I know I said he's been around for a long time. Just kind of give you an idea. Brown has coached UNC. He coached UNC 88 through 97 before getting to Texas, where he won his championship, which gave him such a big name, or at least that's how I know him. And then he he had been out of coaching for a couple years, and then UNC brought him back after the 2018 season. All right, and now they're gonna be keeping him through 2025, and he's gonna be 74. Jeesh. Also, UNC just played Texas A&M in the Orange Bowl, which they lost. Make sure y'all take a note on that part. But hey, good job to Mac Brown and the Tar Heels. All right, looking forward to keeping up with all that. So that's all the top news. What's going on? What's going around? Now, real quick, I want to discuss. Now, it's 80 defenders from this stuff, but I want to name the ones I know and where they land on this here, marker, I guess, on this list. Which, again, if you're listening to this right now and you're into football, then you'll probably know most of these guys. Because I'm gonna talk about pretty much the people that are in the league right now, or some people that were big and for whatever reason have retired already or something like that nature. So number 76 is Quinn Williams. Quinn Williams just got in the league in 2019. But he played at Alabama. He's a defensive tackle at Alabama on their 2017 national title team. He recorded 19.5 tackles for losses, 2.5 sacks in 2018. And that was good enough to give him a good job, that's for sure. Cornerback Aqib Talib, he played at Kansas in 05 to 07. He is somebody that is out of the league now, but noted him, he's at 74. Who else we got? Also, sorry, this article, just so in case you want to reference it, is by staff writer Bill Connolly with ESPN. So I'm pretty sure he had help making the list, but let's see. Okay, cornerback Patrick Peterson from LSU 08 to 2010. He's a top 10 recruit. He combined for 171 yards. That's how much he returned for. Okay, so not only was he a cornerback, he was a returner. And we know he's, handling his business with the Cardinals as we speak. Dope. Okay. Scrolling down, let's see. No, trying to move it along so we don't have to go over everybody. Number 56 is Joey Bosa, Ohio State. He's on the title team in 2014, which is, when they did it big with Zeke and him, but he was on the team from 2013 to 2015. He's one of the steadiest players. He's logged 21.5 tackles for loss, 13.5 sacks, and he's in his first of the 2 All-American seasons. All right, so that's pretty good on his part. Safety Jabril Peppers out of Michigan, 2014 through 2016. He recorded 13 tackles for loss and 5th in the Heisman voting in 2016. Okay. Michael Fitzpatrick, Alabama, 2015 through 2017. Which Bama's going to be on here quite a few times, I'm sure. And, Fitzpatrick stood out. He averaged 5.5 tackles for loss and 3 interceptions and 8 breakups per season. This is what he averaged per season. So, over his 3 years, he was balling. That's for sure. Jadeveon Clowney is number 39. We know why he's famous. I mean, he did big things, but he also clearly has that one play that people cannot stop replaying, and I don't blame you. Oh, linebacker Patrick Willis from Ole Miss, 03 to 06. 21 tackles for loss, 6 sacks, and 8 pass defense as a linebacker, handling his business. Defensive tackle Ed Oliver out of Houston, 2016-2018. That's a pretty recent one. But he was just a monster. We were expecting a lot from him. He recorded 53 tackles for loss, 13.5 sacks, and 11 pass breakups under his 3 full seasons, winning the Outland Trophy in 2017. All right, who remember linebacker Monty Teo, linebacker out of North Dakota, 09 through 2012. He made a staggering 374 tackles from 2010 through 2012, 28.5 behind the line of scrimmage. Okay. All right, a guy that I went to school with, that I got to play basketball with in the gym, Myles Garrett is number 26 from 2014 to 2016. Garrett was just a beast, unstoppable. As soon as he hit his freshman year, 12.5 tackles for loss, 11 sacks, and only got better from there. He made 34.5 tackles for loss, 20 sacks, and 7 forced fumbles in 2015 through 2016 by himself, earning him an All-American honors and going number 1 in that 2017 draft. All right, because that's what we do. We produce at A&M. Safety Sean Taylor in Miami, 01 to 03 legend. Okay, he's number 24. OG Von Miller, another Aggie from 07 to 2010. He, was pretty average, I guess you could say, when he first got there, but 09 through 2010 he exploded and recorded 39 tackles for loss, 27.5 sacks, earned All-American honors twice, and winning the 2010 Buckets Award. Big names here, big names, okay? Like, these are people that are still making differences mostly, which is crazy. 15, Chase Young. Watched the Redskins. He was 90% of the reason I kept picking him to win some games because he is a bulldozer, unstoppable. Right in front of him, one of my favorite players of all time, safety Troy Polamalu, out of USC from 1999 through 02. He was out there with Pete Carroll. Then he got to the Steelers. You seen what he could do, man. Him hopping over. He just was unstoppable. He's famous, for hitting originally. And then it's like, it's the kid with the hair. He recorded 29 tackles for losses and 6 interceptions. 3 of them which were pick sixes. 4 block punts. 4, which is 4th most this century. That's all what he did while he was at USC. Okay? Going up, going off all the time. Who else we got here? Julius Peppers, number 9. That's out of 99 through 01, North Carolina, UNC team. Then number 8 is Tyrann Mathieu. It's good seeing him this far up, man. I know that guy's went through a lot. If you haven't heard his story, definitely look it up. Defensive tackle Aaron Donald out of Pitt, 2010 through 2013. A bulldozer beast, another one. He made 16 tackles for loss as a sophomore, 18.5 as a junior, and 28.5 as a senior. There's no stopping him, man. Who's number 4? Linebacker Khalil Mack from Buffalo, 2010-2013. Do you see the trend that's going on here? Look, if you up here, then we know who they are in the league for sure. Okay, Khalil Mack when you find people like again, he went to Buffalo. Buffalo is, nothing against them, but it isn't a big organization. But when you're able to find talent like this, his stat line, he has 75 tackles for loss, which was the most in FBS record history. 28.5 sacks, 16 forced fumbles, and 4 interceptions, 2 block kicks. No one can hold this kid, clearly. All right, unstoppable. All right, number 3, DN Terrell Suggs out of Arizona. All right, that's a championship winner. Another championship winner with him, safety out of Miami, Ed Reed. He is number 2, 98 through 01. Okay, if you don't know about Ed Reed at the U, you just missing out. If you don't know about that defense there, that should tell you right. Look it up. I don't even want to say too much. Just know that Ed Reed and them boys at the U from 98 and 01 went off. Okay. Then number 1 though, I thought was pretty interesting, but it was cool to know. He has Ndamukong Suh out of Nebraska from his 06 to 09 season. Suh, he did pretty good. He's a Portland native and already posted 29 tackles for loss, 12 sacks in his 2008 season. So he had a pair of interceptions as well. That he took. A pair of interceptions that he took back for touchdowns. So all around athlete. Now, my time is well over, but we can dibble-dabble in these quarterbacks real quick. They got their top 60, and this is college. So, again, the thing is, I know most of these, so what I'll do is I'll just tell you the names and their number instead of giving you the stats, because either you gonna know or you not gonna know. All right? Number 59, Andy Dalton. 58, Zach Wilson, who's coming out this year into the draft. Aaron Rodgers is number 56 out of Cal. Patrick Mahomes out of Texas Tech, number 54. Mason Rudolph, number 53, Oklahoma State. Which is, I mean, this is just interesting. It's so fascinating to like look at and read because thinking about where these players are now, right? And what you're about to hear next in my quarterback countdown is going to be very interesting compared to this as well. All right. Kyle Trask coming out this year out of Florida is number 45. Eli Manning out of Ole Miss, number 44. Alex Smith out of Utah, number 37. Landry Jones, OU, 09 through 12. If you don't know who that is, you better know. Mac Jones coming out this year from out of Alabama, 35. Troy Smith coming out of Ohio State, 03 to 06 is number 31. Number 29, Colin Kaepernick out of Nevada. Number 27, Justin Fields coming out this year out of Ohio State. Number 26, Ben Roethlisberger out of Miami, the Ohio one. Number 24, Russell Wilson. Yeah, Russell Wilson out of NC State and Wisconsin because his first 3 years were at NC State. So apparently he's a legend at both schools, which is cool. Jalen Hurts, somebody else that's a double legend, is number 23 at Alabama and Oklahoma. Case Keenum's number 22 out of Houston. 21 is Carson Palmer, USC. 20 is Phillip Rivers, NC State. 19 is Tua out of Alabama. Number 18 is Andrew Luck out of Stanford. 17 is Matt Leinart out of USC. Look, now I got to just say all of them because we know all of these boys now. If you don't know, then you've been missing a lot. Jameis Winston is number 16. Good for him. Number 13, OG Johnny Manziel. Just going crazy, beating Alabama, proving everybody wrong. Won the Heisman, proud of him. Most of these guys won the Heisman actually, but you get the point. Number 12, Colt McCoy. Number 11, Trevor Lawrence. Yeah, Trevor Lawrence, number 1 draft pick coming out this year, is number 11 on here. Who is better than him, right? Oh, I'll tell you. When I say these names, you ain't gonna argue them. Number 10, Robert Griffin III. Number 9, Marcus Mariota out of Oregon. Number 8, Lamar Jackson, and he's way up here because, come on, man, like, Lamar did some crazy stats, man. From 2015, 2017, over 9,000 yards, 57% completion rate, 69 touchdowns, passing touchdowns, 27 interceptions only, 4,132 rushing yards, and 50 rushing touchdowns. 50. Going crazy. I'm going to tell you, I think it's like one person that has something better than that. But number 7, Kyler Murray, who went to Texas A&M, but then went to Oklahoma because Texas A&M did not use him right, but that's for another conversation. Number 6, Deshaun Watson, who was in my top. I'm just all to say clearly, I ain't give him up in the first 10, so he's clearly in the top 10. All right. Number 5, Joe Burrow. Yeah, he definitely did his thing at LSU. That's for facts. Number 4, Tim Tebow. What an era at Florida he had. Number 3, if you grew up in Texas, this is the person you looked up to if you played football and made you want to go to Texas University. Is Vince Young. Okay, Vince Young, a legend. So he's top 3. Who's above top 3? Who's 1 and 2? Who 1 and 2? Number 2, Cam Newton. Cam Newton did some crazy stuff. He also had pretty much in one season because he was, at Auburn after he came from, winning a championship at Blinn. Right before that being Tim Tebow's backup, but almost 3,000 yards, 65% completion rate, and 30 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, 1,500 rushing yards, 24 rushing touchdowns. He just couldn't beat him, and we clearly see what he did once he got to the league. He made big things happen. Now, in this, he definitely preferenced letting us know that Newton, Young, and Burrow had the best seasons. That's why they're all up there. All right, they had the best season. But number 1, out of Oklahoma, Baker Mayfield had the best career. All right. And so, we're talking about college quarterbacks going off their career. Baker Mayfield from 2013 to 2017 had 4,607 passing yards with a 69% completion rating, 131 touchdowns, 30 interceptions, 183 rushing yards, and 21 rushing touchdowns. We salute you, Baker Mayfield. I see what you're doing out there at the Browns. We're proud of you. We're proud of pretty much all these guys because, they were able to do what they did at such a high level, and most of them moved on, some unfortunate events may have happened, may have occurred, but long story short, they have made all of us love the game possibly a little bit more, especially if you're someone like me who grew up playing football, playing quarterback at one point. So, yes, we're going to get into that next up, man. It's about that time. That's all I got for this segment. Next up, stay tuned. I'm going to finally give y'all my top 10 quarterbacks in the league, and then we're going to take it to being a little personal. I'm going to let y'all look on how I got to talking to y'all today. All right, so stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Tired of searching the vast jungle of podcasts? Now listen close and hear this out. There's a podcast network that covers just about everything that you've been searching. The Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network is here. Nothing less than a podcast bliss with endless hours of podcast coverage. From news, sports, music, fashion, cooking, entertainment, fantasy, football, and so much more. So stop lurking around and go straight out to the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. Guaranteed to fill that podcast itch. Whatever it may be. Visit us at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and download us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Google Play.
Welcome back. Thank you for tuning in to the GSMC Football Podcast. I hope you enjoyed that short break. We've been talking about a few things. I gave you guys the news so far on the NFL. We talked about the NCAA. We talked about some of the rankings that came out on ESPN this week as far as those NCAA players. And then next up, I'm going to give you a little bit more background and personal talk about my football background. But now, it's time to continue what we started last week. Alright? So, in case you need a reminder, this is my top 20 quarterbacks in the league currently. Okay? So that means pre-draft. Once the draft happened, you still can't necessarily just throw those rookies into it, but you get the point that, they'll have that opportunity, which we know some of them, or at least expect a lot of them to go along, a few of them to go a long way in this league. So, excluding them, but including this past season mostly, and then history if they've been there enough longer, this is my top 20. So, recap. Last week I gave you 20 through 11. 20, Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow with the Bengals. 19, Daniel Jones with the Giants. 18, Jared Goff with the Lions, no longer with the Rams. 17, Matt Ryan with the Falcons. 16, Kirk Cousins with the Vikings. 15, Matthew Stafford with the Rams. 14, Baker Mayfield with the Browns. 13, Justin Herbert with the Chargers. 12, Ben Roethlisberger with the Steelers. And 11, Derek Carr with the Raiders. All right, now that was a solid 10. Okay, those 10 are more than enough of them. Which, if they were on the market right now to play, it wouldn't be too hard to get them a team. Most of them. But now let's talk about the top 10. Let's talk about the 10 that ain't going nowhere. Let's talk about the 10 that teams wouldn't dare at this moment to get rid of. And you'll even hear about some when I get there about some of the troubles that they've been having because they're not getting rid of them. All right? Now, number 10 on my top 20 is Kyler Murray, Arizona quarterback, former Rookie of the Year, former everything that there could have been as far as high school football greatness, as well as the former Heisman Trophy winner. All right. You keep hearing me say, what have you done for me? Let's talk about what Kyler just did in these last 16 games. All right. He was number 13 on the list of all the passing yards by all the quarterbacks. He threw for almost 4,000, coming a little short at 3,971. That's fine. That's cool. Out of 558 attempts, he completed 375, which gave him a 37.2 pass rating, which is great. Okay, I mean completion rating. Sorry, that's his completion rating because that's a really great number. I said last episode that 70 is really when it means you were hot, you were really getting things done to be that high up. But everybody else fall in between 60 going up to 75. So being that he's 67, that shows that he's been in the mix, man. He's been there. He's getting it done. He makes plays. He's got his team to an amazing record. Okay, let's see. So 26 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. He probably can help out a little bit more on the interception side, which, bringing that to his linemen. I know they've given him a little more help. He was sacked 27 times, but he still was able to get, now this is his passer rating. He was still able to get a passer rating of 94.3. All right, you got to remember, Kyler Murray is still young to this. That was only his second year and starting, and he was able to make a lot happen impressively. And, now he has a couple more weapons. He got another receiver. They're getting what he needs to get done, running back wise as well. So the Cardinals are going to be a scary team to face. Okay, he definitely is not going to be. It's going to be that battle that's been, but I think the Cardinals are going to come a little bit back more on top this upcoming season in their division. So, it's always typically close, Seahawks, the Rams. I think they're going to be a little bit more in the mix now. But Kyler Murray, out of all the quarterbacks in the league currently, is top 10. He's number 10. Argue with your mother. All right. Moving on. At number 9. Lamar Jackson with the Baltimore Ravens. All right, so this past year, was he a disappointment? No, because a lot of people had the team going undefeated, doing, who knows what to buy. I mean, if they're going undefeated, that means everybody expect them to go to the Super Bowl, right? So it was supposed to go a long way, make things happen. Now, Lamar did have to miss one game this past season due to injury. But other than that, I think he has come a long way as a passer. If I do say so myself, and when he came in, we've been seeing the big growth on dual threat quarterbacks, and he's big on it. Oh my gosh, half his highlights are incredible runs, as we all know. He can, get out of trouble. He scrambles really well, and he can throw off these scrambles. That's what I've been impressed with. His throwing, his accuracy, everything's gotten a lot better, and that shows that he's playing, better ball, and he's being safer with the ball, because guess what? My boy had single-digit interceptions this season. Okay, 26 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. Now, his completion rating could be a little higher, but again, that's not always just on the quarterback by itself. But he did complete 242 balls on 376 attempts. Okay, and again, in his 15 games, he was able to throw for 2,757 yards. That is a fair amount for this guy. Someone else kind of in the same seat as Kyler is in, a former MVP of the league, and someone who else is, in the process with his organization to get some more weapons. Okay, they got a chance. It'll take some time, but I know they're in talks with getting his deal done. They'll pay him. Lamar's a loyal guy. I think that team there has a great understanding. We saw, that he was able to get Dez Bryant and some other people in the works. Shoot, this was a place that a lot of people was talking about. AB should, go to. So I know in the segment before last, I mentioned that there was rumors about Russell trying to get him, but I think we all know Baltimore would be a better place if AB was go somewhere else, because he'd be playing with Lamar and the rest of those guys who pretty much have the same type of background and drive as AB. Okay? So yes, Lamar Jackson, number 9, top 10 quarterback in the league. He literally just won MVP last year, guys. Not this past season before last. I mean, come on. Who are we supposed to argue with here about him being a top 10 quarterback in the league? Even if you fall off bad, I don't think you can go from being MVP and then the next season going out of the top 10. It's not possible. All right? Now, who's better than Lamar Jackson? I got 8 people right here ahead of him. I know you're curious on who these 8 are, all right? Number 8, from the Tennessee Titans, Ryan Tannehill. Ryan Tannehill had himself these last 2 seasons, he's been out of his mind. He's been playing well again. I've mentioned it a few times. Part of it is he has a great pass action package because of who he has in the backfield with him, running 2,000 yards, and Derrick Henry, which, by the way, is, in case you didn't know, that is a crazy club to be in. Because, for one, I'm someone who, again, guys, I didn't grow up watching 90s football. I was Tyler and all that kind of stuff. But I hear about these guys all the time. I think I meant to say it on the last episode, but I didn't get a chance to. But 2000 Club, because I've heard about it in the last few years that I've been watching ball, I thought it was more people than it really was. But that's not the facts. Okay? So, yeah, we just got Derrick Henry. But before that, you only got O.J. Simpson. He did it. Okay, and that was back in the 1973 season. Chris Johnson, someone I saw do it. He did it back in the 09 season. So that was somebody I'm familiar with. He did that with the Tennessee Titans. And I know I'm supposed to talk about quarterbacks, but I just want to shout these guys out real quick. Terrell Davis did it with the Broncos. Went for his 2,008 yards, 21 touchdowns. So, ridiculous season for himself. That was in 98. Eric Dickerson, he did 2,100 yards, 14 touchdowns with the Rams. Okay, so he put some miles on himself there. Okay, that was a big year. Barry Sanders, 2,053 yards, 11 touchdowns with the Lions, of course. He had to do it for his boys. And then you got Jamal Lewis. Okay, Jamal Lewis did it for 2,066 yards, 14 touchdowns. Great guys. Very impressive. And now, so you add to that Derrick Henry. Okay. So, congrats to all of those guys. Now, with that being said, having somebody that's literally in a select few, and what I mean by select, I mean less than 10 people that can make it happen, that says a lot to a defense. A defense got to be on. Oh, Adrian Peterson's supposed to be on there too. Sorry. Adrian Peterson did it too after his injury. So, very select few group, elite group, impressive group. That helped Ryan Tannehill. He was able to do these play actions where he rolls out and he throws it across the field. And I think that has like a 70-something% completion rating, if I remember correctly, hearing about that. Either way it go, it still takes talent for you to get, that type of game, get those type of completions, okay? He had, 65.5% completion, 315 completions out of 481 attempts. Now, what I'm impressed with is the number of touchdowns and interceptions, as usual. Okay, so another single-digit interception guy. 7. He only has 7 interceptions on the season. All right, that's like literally like the second to lowest, third to lowest. All right, but he's up there, like ridiculous. All right, 33 touchdowns, up there in the 30s. We haven't been talking about the 30s. I've been in. Only person I think I mentioned so far in the 30s is Ben Roethlisberger, because he had 33 as well on the season. But out of everybody so far, we're getting to the big ballers. His passer rating is 106.5. Okay? Ryan Tannehill has come a long way out of Texas A&M. Make that noted. And done some big things. Proud of that guy. All right. Now, that one's a little long-winded because I kind of got detoured. But moving on to number 7. Dak Prescott. Yes, Dak Prescott just got injured last season. Only got to play a few games. But you saw what he's doing. You saw what he's been doing. He deserves it. Okay? In the few games, Dak Prescott had 5 games. That's what I thought it was. So, he didn't get to do as much as he wanted. But let's talk about what he did in that time. 9 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. Okay. Good ratio. 151 completions out of 222, 68% completion rating. Good, real close to that 70 marker. All right, now he's pushing for 8.4 yards a play. All right, that's great. A pass, really, once you break it down. Went for over 1,850 yards and had a 99.6 passer rating. Now, let him finish that season out. I think a lot of people had their money on the Cowboys taking the season because they worked so well with Dak. He just got paid a couple weeks ago. He will be back in full effect. He says he's feeling fine. He's feeling well. They still have the receivers. They're upgrading their defense. He still has Zeke in the backfield, who's still, top 8 running backs in the league. Dak Prescott has the potential to be top 2 next season. After this season, depending on what happens, Dak Prescott could be top 2 on this list that I'm spilling out right now. I've already mentioned that he has top 3 potential of winning league MVP, comeback year, whatever awards, because I believe he's about to go off this upcoming season. But keep your eye on Dak and the Cowboys, which I'm pretty sure 90% of all football fans are already doing that. For whatever reason, we just can't stop talking about the Cowboys. So, it makes sense. Now, number 6, Seattle Seahawks, Russell Wilson. Now, this one's tough because if you would ask this question before this season started, where would Russ be? I feel like Russ would be almost top 3, top 5. But this year was a little different for him as well as a little different for other people that were just performing really well. But at the same time, regardless, Russell Wilson was being Russell Wilson. Like, he was definitely in the MVP talks at the beginning of the season. You got to remember, he was taking his team. They were not being beat. He was having some crazy plays happen and making some big-time throws. How is he making big-time throws? Well, he threw for 4,212 yards this season. Passing yards, okay? On 384 completions out of 558 attempts, giving him a 68.8 completion rating. Now, this is where it gets good. Wilson's long. 62 yards. How many touchdowns? 40 touchdowns. How many interceptions? 13 touchdowns. Yes, he's in the double digits for interceptions, but look how many touchdowns he got. 40 touchdowns. Only one other person tied for that amount. One other quarterback tied for that amount of touchdowns in the season, and one quarterback beat that. All right. Now, showing that there's only 2, clearly those 2 are above him since it's the first time I mentioned 40. But that is a big season to throw for 40 touchdowns. A passer rating of 105. That's not too bad. Now, this is the same thing I mentioned before, and that he, kind of cried about, but this season he did get sacked 47 times. So just imagine what he could do if he had his line holding it down. Imagine how many more yards he would have thrown for. Imagine how many more touchdowns he would have thrown for. How many more opportunities that he didn't make a bad pass and not get accepted. What would those numbers look like if he had the O-line of the guys that are in the top 5 possibly? It'd be ridiculous. But let's see who those guys are. Moving into the top 5 quarterbacks in the league as of right now. Number 5, Josh Allen. And I bet a lot of people have been expecting to hear Josh Allen's name already. But yes, he is better than Russell Wilson. He is better than Dak Prescott, Ryan Tannehill, Kyler Murray, Lamar Jackson. Yes, I believe that Josh Allen is going to be top 3. He's going to be next up. He's going to be the, Drew Brees. He's going to be going at it as the Drew Brees to baby goat Patrick Mahomes being the Tom Brady in this area. Going back and forth in the AFC battles that they are destined to go in. Now, don't count out everybody else because, I'm always talk about the other teams on how great they are as well. But, oh my goodness, have we seen what Buffalo's been doing these last couple seasons? Have we seen what Josh Allen did? When you draft a quarterback, this is what franchises want to see. This is what they want to see. In the time he's been there, in these 2 years, he was able to make it to the AFC Championship. That's what you want to see. That shows the difference. All right? Now, how accurate is this guy, you may ask? Well, on 572 attempts, he completed 396. Almost making it to 4. But that still makes his completion rating a 69.2. He's up there. He's up there to great. He was number 5 on the passing yards this season, throwing for 4,544 yards. Almost touched single-digit interceptions, throwing for 10, but still got 37 touchdowns in the end zone. Pass rating of 107.2. Man, Buffalo's a great team, and I really like that Josh Allen guy. Man, you've seen him run. I love seeing big quarterbacks run hard, not being scary. I do understand we need to be safer, and that's why they have all the rules they have in place to protect players, but just especially the quarterback, so some people feel like they have the advantage. But when you see quarterbacks go out there and they ain't scared, because I guarantee you the defense, even though they know those rules, they still not about to let anything happen, right? He goes out there, he pushes that ball down the field, he pushes that ball in that end zone. He don't care, he puts his helmet down. I like that. I like the grit, so I like him. And that's the quarterback that you need these days. Again, with the new age and how people are viewing a football team looks. I've been having a mobile quarterback with an arm, which Josh Allen has a magnificent arm. Okay, this is where it can get a lot of controversial for me, but we gonna see. Now, if you haven't agreed to me up to thus far, you're probably not gonna agree with me right now. I guarantee it. But my number 4 pick, Tampa Bay's Buccaneers, Tom Brady. Yes, Tom Brady. TB12 out in TB playing for the Buccaneers. Why? I mean, do you not agree? The only reason, if I'm being honest, Tom Brady ended up number 4 is because 3 other people were just better. Not because he was, deserving to be brought down to number 4. It was just that 3 people deserved to be pulled up. Okay? Now, Tom Brady, he clearly just won a Super Bowl. He did his thing. He went to another team after being with the Patriots for, all his life since he came out the womb or something. And he was able to do it in less than a year. He won a championship before it was an entire year since he left the Patriots. In 16 games this past season, for Tampa, just for Tampa, we're not even going to include everything he did with the Patriots. So just this season, which we saw him play a few bad games, we did. But on 610 attempts, he completed 401 passes, giving him a 65.7 rating, which shows that they let him throw the ball a lot. He's trusted with the ball, and of course he is. He's Tom Brady. He finished number 3 on the all-time passing yards for the season, regular season, at 4,633 yards. Where it gets interesting for me, how many touchdowns did he have? 40 touchdowns. 4-0. This is the individual that's topped Russell Wilson for 40 touchdowns. He did throw 12 interceptions. It was some tough times that he had. Like I said, it was some bad games we saw. But regardless, 40 touchdowns is an incredible accomplishment. And even so, he was playing safe with the ball. even though he has the 12 interceptions, and he won when it mattered. That's really what happened. Is he won when it mattered? Tom Brady took it to the top and won. All right, congrats to them. All right, top 3 right now. Top 3. Who we got? Number 3, Deshaun Watson. Despite everything that's going on in the news right now, let's just talk about the young man's skill on the field. Okay, Houston Rockets having all the issues that they having with this guy. He doesn't want to be there anymore and all that kind of stuff. But God dog it, who would want to be there with everything they had going on? This kid was hit 49 times. Sacked more than anybody in the league this season. Sacked 49 times. And even with being sacked 49 times and having, the third worst record in the entire football league, let me tell you what Deshaun Watson did. On 544 attempts, he completed 382. That's a 70.2 completion rating. Only one other person had something better than him. But what I tell you, what did I say earlier about wanting to be in that 70 marker? Okay? You can't beat that. Also, single-digit interceptions. After all of that, 7 interceptions with 33 touchdowns. A passer rating of 112.4, the highest passer rating of the league. How is he pretty much the best statistical quarterback on the worst team? How is he the number 1 quarterback in passing yards with 4,823, almost a 5,000 passing year, but was sacked 49 times in a terrible organization that he feels that does not respect him? That blows my mind, and it also explains why this is a team that no matter what's going on and who's calling, they want to keep him. Interesting, right? It's crazy how the world works. Number 2, who's better than Deshaun Watson and Tom Brady? Number 2, and now if you trust and believe, you might want to hang up or go ahead and turn this off if you didn't agree with the last 2 or 3, because the number 2, Aaron Rodgers. Now, if you're with me, congrats. You made it to the end. You pretty much probably know who number 1 is, but number 2 is the beast of all the quarterbacks, the MVP of the season, Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers had an MVP year. Well, what did Aaron Rodgers do this year? Why is he, what he did? On 526 passes, he completed 372. That's the 70.7 passer completing. That is the highest in the league this past season. He's the person that had higher than Deshaun Watson. That is great. He's able to put the ball where it needs to be. He had reliable receivers getting things done, averaging 8.2 a pass, 8.2 yards a pass. Okay, how many touchdowns to interception he had? First off, he has reached the all-time low on interceptions. Okay, he has the lowest amount of interceptions, so he's definitely in single digits of this season. But he had 5 interceptions, 16 games, only 5 interceptions. That's great. Now, thank God for his O-line taking care of him, only 20 sacks. But how many touchdowns did he have, DJ Youngs? How many touchdowns? The most in the league with 48. 48 touchdowns he threw this year. 48. A passer rating of 121.5, which, correcting what I said in the last thing for Deshaun, a little dyslexic, I guess, here I mixed up the numbers, but he has the highest pass rating. So higher pass rating, most touchdowns, least interceptions, equals MVP, okay? Equals arguably the best quarterback in the league. The only reason I don't have him as number 1 is because I believe that number 1 deserves to be at number 1 until he's dethroned. So when you make that you can be the best quarterback statistically and with the wins, which Aaron Rodgers was very close. He was very close, but he was defeated by Tom Brady. But he's still a better quarterback, if you ask me, than Tom Brady. But the quarterback that he is not better than, if you ask me, is number 1. Of course, Kansas City's own Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes didn't even have too crazy of a year. It wasn't anything that they were just doing that was mind-boggling. I mean, yes, we knew who they are now, and all that, but think about it. They weren't even covering their spreads Everyone thought they would do something, and they did, and they came under all of those. They lost a couple games to teams that no one thought they would lose to. But he still, in his 15 games, had to sit out a game for injury, was able to come in second in passing yards on the season. 4,740, right under Deshaun Watson. All right. With single-digit interception, 6 interceptions, so second and lowest to Aaron Rodgers. 38 touchdowns, again, only second to Aaron Rodgers. 108.2 rating. So, now, DJ, based off what you're saying, it sounds like Aaron Rodgers is better than Patrick Mahomes. On paper, I can see why you say that. I can see where I mean, what he has just has more passing yards with the 4,740. Okay, yeah, that's pretty much all he got because he doesn't even beat him on the completion rating. Completion rating is only 65.7. But I mean, that's not bad. But what is it? Why is Patrick Mahomes? Oh, sorry, his pass rating is 66.3. Well, why is Patrick Mahomes above Tom Brady? Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady is because he got to the championship. Well, then Tom Brady got to the championship, but Tom Brady statistically isn't better than Patrick Mahomes. So, that'll put him up there. Aaron Rodgers just gets to be above. Aaron Rodgers and Deshaun Watson just get to be above Tom Brady because both of their numbers are crazy out of this world. So, being that Patrick Mahomes has top 3 of the crazy stats and he made to the Super Bowl, put him at the top. Deshaun Watson, Aaron Rodgers had the craziest ones, put him underneath him, and then Tom Brady come right underneath. That's how I came to this conclusion. Now, things are much, 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 much in the running of changing. We don't know what's to come about on the teams. We don't know what's to come about in the league. Still a lot going on in this world. But one thing's for sure. Those top 5 are the best of the best. Those top 10 aren't going anywhere. And the top 20 are here to stay, making their statements. All right? So, I am overdue for a break, but stay tuned. Next coming up, I'm going to talk a little bit about my history, my background, how I came to love football so much that I decided to come on here and talk to you guys twice a week. All right? So, we'll be right back.
This is your ultimate stop for everything sports. The Golden State Media Concepts Sports Podcast. Should I say more? From the NFL, MLB, the NBA to MMA, it's all in here. The Golden State Media Concepts Sports Podcast. Listen now.
Okay, it's time for the final segment. I hope you enjoyed the break. I hope you enjoyed the show thus far. I gave you some information on NFL, NCAA, some of their rankings that came out on ESPN as far as their NCAA quarterbacks and defenders of the 2000s. I jumped into my top 20, which, hey, you can argue with whoever you want. I'm down to have a debate. I gave you my reasons on why I picked people where they was at. I think it's a good list. Agree or disagree. But now, man, look, let me talk about how I got here. I mean, 2 things. One, I'm pretty sure sports has influenced so many people's lives. Your story might be familiar or as similar to one another as mine. As someone that you don't know, shoot, mine could possibly be as similar to someone that actually is in the NFL right now. It's just they had a different route, things of that nature. And then 2, maybe you want to know just how to, get on a podcast to be able to talk about sports. Maybe you're that interested in it. So I'm going to just give you my story on how I ended up talking about football on the Golden State Media Concept podcast. Network. So, I mean, just starting at the very beginning, how did sports influence my life? What was the influence that football specifically had on my life? So, I did start off playing basketball first. That was my first sport, and I was like, what? Real small. I was real small. I don't even remember. But I ended up getting into football because, I was outside playing with my friends. That's what kids did back in my time is we played outside. We had video game stuff too, but most of the time it was, can I go outside? And we'll do whatever we needed to do to make something happen. We had a football. We could, play football on the streets or in somebody's yard. We had a basketball. Somebody had a basketball goal. We'll hoop. We'd play Foursquare. We would ride bikes. We did everything, man. I really hope that, kids still get to do some of this stuff these days. I just haven't seen much of it. But, yeah, man, it just helped me be a real athlete. Now, it's me in the street full of boys and neighborhood full of guys that would come around. And I was actually really good. I was pretty athletic. And that's cool to say just because I was a little chubby kid at one point in time, and didn't have the confidence. But I knew that I could play sports. And I was, like I said, making things happen. We have 2 light poles on the block I grew up on. So street lights. One just so happened to be like right in front of my house, which is like third house on the block. And then at the end, close to the cul-de-sac, was the next one. So if I was to take a guess, this is probably like 60, 70 some yards, maybe further. I can't really remember unless I'm standing there, to be honest. Your memory gives you wrong information sometimes. But either way, this was a pretty long distance for a kid to be throwing a football, right? But that's what the adults would do if they was to be out there, and they would be like throwing light pole to light pole, playing catch. Or we'll be all down at one end and just let them throw it to us, and we'll run it back whoever caught it type stuff. But at some point, and I'm talking about as like a 8-year-old, I was able to successfully throw this ball to them at the other end. And so everyone became very impressed with my arm, and I got put into football, and I played quarterback. And I was already like, like a young Mahomes, Lamar, Kyler, I was running around. So like, I wasn't no stay in the pocket kind of kid, but I did great, man. I got into my first league, took that team undefeated. I don't really know what the rules were back then because I don't really even remember too much as far as championship or anything like that. But what I do know is that we did not lose. We won every game except one. One game was a tie. And for the record, it was a team I had already beat. And when I came back, they had some kid that was like a foot taller than me, and he played every position. It wasn't fair. I was very upset. He definitely caught like 2 picks off of me and everything, bro. But it was a life lesson. Like I said, I was still able to tie that game. Very proud of that. But no, I mean, just in the league, which was pretty far from my house, so it wasn't even like with people in my neighborhood too much. But I remember other coaches and parents like kind of talking about me. One of the most memorable plays is, of course, because we played both ways. Wasn't too much. I played cornerback as well, or safety. I don't even remember which one, but I had a play where they threw the ball to the kid. I literally I'm standing directly behind him. I put my arms around him, catch the ball, bring the ball over his head, and start running toward their end zone as if I was the receiver. And I'm running. I'm like one of the fastest kids on the field. And I look over to the side because, if you play sports, you can only hear so much on the sideline. For some reason, it's kind of like you zone them out. But I look on the sideline, and everybody is screaming and cheering, which I assume that's what they will be doing. I'm running toward the end zone. But then I notice my coach is actually jumping up and down and swinging his arms and pointing the opposite way. Now, mind you, I'm like 10 yards from the other end zone. So then it clicks in my head, oh, snap, I got to go to the other end zone. Literally make a U-turn, not a hard one, like one of those long, like from one side of the sideline all the way to the other side, like real long U-turn, curving around, ran it all the way back. Was I exhausted? Yes. But this is a play I'll never forget because everybody just couldn't believe I got away with that. I can't believe I got away with that. But this was just, the experiences I was having my first time playing football. So we knew it was going to go only up from here. Then I proceed on to, some more years. I actually, for whatever reason, did not play in middle school. Middle school ball here in Texas, you can only play 7th and 8th grade. So once I got 6th grade, the school I actually went to was a gifted and talented school. So I was about the education. So once it came to 7th, 8th grade, it kind of was like not that big of a deal for me to play football. I didn't think it would hinder me or hold me back, and I really didn't have anybody in my ear telling me that I needed to be. If you ask me now, I think I needed to be playing in order to prepare me for high school, but that wasn't the case. So I had a little growth spur and slim out going into my 9th grade year. Somehow lost a lot of weight. I guess, I got on the football team, things of that nature. Now, mind you, that the other school in my neighborhood, middle school that everybody came from, that team actually was full of athletes. They were undefeated their 7th and 8th grade year, so my 7th and 8th grade year in my other school. So we all came up, and pretty much the freshman football coach of our high school pretty much was going to use that same team. So, I come aboard, I'm some kid he never heard of, never seen. I can't really vouch for myself because, again, I didn't play in middle school, so it's just kind of like I could show you what I can do in practice, but, I know you're relying on these guys because you've seen what they can do on the field in games and go undefeated for the last 2 years. Understood. Couldn't argue with that. I just had to work, my way up. I was like I said, I was real skinny, had to get meaty, but I was also, again, in certain classes that kind of hindered me from being a part of the football class because I took education first, football second. I also got to run track. That was a requirement. I would have probably never ran track. I thought it was crazy. Like, who wants to run for fun or for competition? No, that's a punishment, right? In football, running is a punishment. But my skills coach, required it. And what I mean by required is he told me either I run or I don't play football. So I showed up to track. And I thought we were just out there to run track as far as, we're practicing, not actually going to compete. I thought because all the football skill players were out there. So I knew we all were on a track team. Long story short, before I know it, I'm coming into the field house and it's like a track meet day. And they're like, you on the board? And I'm like, on the board for what? I have 2 races on the board to go run at the meet. I couldn't believe it. But that was the kickstart of me running track. So my coach had me on that first day. I had to run an 800 and 200. Somebody that never ran in the track meet before, I just literally asked him, like, well, 800, that's only 2 laps, right? He's like, yep, okay, cool. I could do that. Got on that track. They shot the gun. I took off. I'm like, I could beat everybody out here 2 laps. But what we never did in my practice was to train me for an 800, nor train me on how to, properly run anything longer than a 400, honestly. So I burned out. And even though I was above in front of everybody about like 300 yards on that 300 meters on that first lap, they all came back and got me. And I came in dead last. Exhausting, sad, I know, but it's okay. I got better throughout the season, and that wasn't happening no more. Okay. Matter of fact, my claim to fame was actually me trying to convince my coach, because if you run 800, you want to run anything less, especially the 400. So when I got to run my 400, finally, I happened to be in lane 8. And I was trying to prove a point, and I took off. I never looked back, and I definitely crossed the line. Couldn't believe that I won. Looked back, there was nobody close to me. And again, this was like sophomore year. I think it was my sophomore year. Time was like 50 point, mid, high, somewhere in there. So that was pretty good, to say the least. Went on to be a part of a great program in track. Fort Bend Marshall in the Southwest Houston area. Did some big things there with that team, and then moved along. But just the football career, keeping it on that though. I got to play with some great guys, some top elite players. After my freshman year, moving on to JV, we happened to get a lot of guys that were just dominant in football, man. Even like from freshmen to juniors to seniors, all around good guys that were very athletic. So I got to play with some of the best. I got to go against some of the best. I definitely did not start because that's how many good players were amongst us. I got to start my junior year. Got to make some things happen there. A big touchdown to win a game versus our hometown rivals and district rivals. That was cool. My family was there. They loved it. I was able to experience that. got up to varsity and experienced all that kind of stuff. But it was just never, being that I had education first, I'm pushing like high end 5'8", low end 5'9", not that tall. And like I said, I never really gained too much weight in high school. I'm a lot bigger now, but back then it wasn't too much. I ran the average speed, and then I'm amongst freak athletes, so I didn't stand out, didn't really get any offers, but I didn't care. Like I said, I was going to school and stuff like that, and I got to enjoy my time playing football when I did. But with that being said, it never left me. The love for it never left. Like, to this day, there is still that little bit of light. It was like, man, I wouldn't mind a suit up right now. Even though I know I'd be in so much pain. Trust me. I did intramurals here and there in college, and oh goodness, the first time I came outside and we played a little flag football game, and I thought I was the big stuff. I might as well have been 80 years old. I did good, but that next day, even though I didn't really hurt anything, my body was so sore. I was walking with a limp and everything. Oh man, the time do you so dirty. But no, man. Another thing that really just held me back in college, because I'm not going to sit here and just chalk it up to my weight and height and all that kind of stuff, because, think about what I just said earlier, in an earlier segment about what Devontae Smith said, and I completely agree with him. The only thing that held me back from being anything bigger than what I was me. I didn't think I could do it. I didn't think I had it in me. I didn't think I could be strong enough, fast enough, anything like that. I thought I'd always, if at most, be maybe a college slot receiver if possible. But like I said, that would require me to go walk on with my academic scholarship type stuff. But I shouldn't have thought that way. There's so many examples out here. Like I said, Devontae Smith. Look at our Kyler Murrays. He actually played quarterback. Oh, I kind of forgot to say why I had switched positions. I was not playing quarterback in high school because I got moved before. Okay, so when I was playing football, matter of fact, I take it back. So yeah, Little League ended 6th grade year. Like I said, that middle school, you had 7th and 8th could play at the school, but you still could play Little League up to 6th grade. So my 6th grade Little League year, this kind of hurt, but I came in starting quarterback. At some point through the practices, the head coach switched his son to starting quarterback, made me back up, and as well as starting receiver. Okay, cool. I'm a team player. I'm going to be honest. I've never been a diva or anything like that. Maybe now that I know what I'm capable of. But back then, I wasn't like that. So I'm a team player. Kind of weird that, he moved me, put his son there. But hey, that's how it is. Cool. I'll play receiver. Come to find out, some years later, literally I learned this in the last 2 years of my life now that I'm far removed from that time, that the reason I actually got moved was due to my mother. My own mother went to the coaching staff asking if I could switch positions because she didn't want me to get hit that often. Oh, the betrayal, ladies and gentlemen, the betrayal. Whose mother would, moms, even dads out there, don't do that, man. Let your kids I know y'all scared. Look, football came a long way. It has. Matter of fact, in my time of playing, I really only truly got hurt one time, and I didn't even get off the field. I act like I was good because I was tough. I was tough like that, There's been hits that definitely with some stingers, but hey, I always knew to get up. I never laid on the field and had to make people come out and get me. None against people that have. I've definitely seen injuries worth it, but my mentality was always, mental over the pain. It was up to me. Okay, so that's what happened. That's how I ended up becoming a wide receiver. But no, I got into high school. Like I said, I played against some great guys, and they only made me better. So I still was good, man. I'm always tell people like that. The truth is, I'm not going to even sugarcoat it. I was a good athlete. I was a good track runner, and I was a good football player for my level. The difference is, if you're going to stand out, you got to be a great. you got to think about the percentage of individuals that make it into college sports and then onto the NFL. That it's just a shrinking number. So you got to be great, then you got to be the greatest. Okay? And I completely understand that now. This is something that I always want to press on and just tell people about, because, you know, especially young men, young women that are in sports, to, you know, keep their motivation up. You know, that's the influence football had on me growing up, onto, you know, being mentally strong and through anything, physically and on. And the confidence is important to be able to reach your goals. Okay, you gotta have that confidence. If you don't think you can do it, you probably are going to fail yourself. You're the only person that can hold you back, and that translates into real life that I saw. Something that I can always think about. Like, I could think about me not having that confidence and me not doing what I need to do. I can remember the blundered plays, though, way more than I remember, you know, the one I just mentioned about me making the big catch to win the game. But I think about the catch that I dropped on fourth down, or the last catch of the game, or us losing by one. I think about all those games a lot more. And most of it's because I always think, what if? What if I was the man I was today with the confidence I have now? And I don't want anything else to be what if. And then the same goes for everyone out there. I'm hoping this is, you know, showing you how sports could have an influence on your life, and maybe you can connect to or relate to any of this. What I'm saying is that no matter what you do in life, sports or not, maybe you moved on from sports, maybe you're like me, you're talking about sports right now, or maybe you are in the corporate world or work just any 9 to 5 or anything like that. Your confidence is a big part of how well your job is going to be done. So what you want to do is make the best of it, be as confident as you can, and do the best you can, so that you never have to look back and be like, what if? Okay? Now, that's kind of the physical aspect and background of my athletic career. Now, how did I get into talking about sports? So in college, I actually went for engineering. Figured out that I wasn't really that into it. I only went because people say you make a lot of money. So I wanted to do something a little bit more passionate. And I feel like business type, you know, learning was something that I could use a lot more. There's always going to be businesses, and no matter where I go, they're going to need business savvy people, right? So I figured, why not learn business in something I loved more, which is sports. So I did a sports management business degree, and then I stayed a little bit longer, got my master's in business. Went on to do some corporate work in life, and, you know, sitting on the couch watching ESPN and all these people debate and talk about sports and talk about it with my friends all the time and stuff like that. And of course, we're in the era and the upcoming of podcasts. So I said I want to start a podcast, but I want to be around like-minded people, learn more from others around me. So I decided to apply to internships on the internet to see if I can land me a position. So if you're out there, if you're listening to this, that's something you're into, man, get out there and apply, man. It's something. And of course, this was something that I looked into while all of us were sitting at home. I'm pretty sure a lot of people started reaching back into what they used to love to do and want to do. And I feel like, you know, sports is always going to be a part of me. Why not I be a part of it? Hopefully, you know, I'm come in here head held high, only planning on getting better, which I hope you guys stick with me and listen along for a long time to come, so that you too can see, you know, my growth. But with that being said, that also translates into what I'm going to say next, man. I appreciate if everyone subscribes, you know, and leave comments. Really want to hear what you guys think about the show thus far, how I'm doing. If you just like in general, I mean, the website, the GSMC Podcast Network has pretty much a podcast on anything. So it's amazing. Anything you could think of, you could search it up, find it on there, from lifestyle to movies, TV, entertainment, every sport, you name it. They got it, okay? Now, you know, I thank you for listening to the GSMC Football Podcast with me. I hope you stay tuned, but definitely check out those other ones. We would like to ask that you please remember to subscribe to the show, write your reviews like I asked, follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, GSMC_football, okay? And as I always say, I appreciate your time. Thank you. Good night, good morning, good evening. Farewell, everyone. Have a good one.
You've been listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Football Podcast, part of the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. You can find this show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and Google Play. Just type in GSMC to find all the shows from the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. From movies to music, from sports to entertainment, and even weird news. You can also follow us on Twitter and on Facebook. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's program.